Welcome back to the show, everybody. Take a look at these numbers while we run the headlines here. We got RippleNet partner news. You're going to want every bit of it, and there's quite a bit of it today. Going back on the gold standard, you're going to want to hear about that. We got the ECB, the Russian digital ruble, JP Morgan report, and everything else to come with it. How about a 790% increase for XRP? I don't have a problem with it. Are we going to get it? I don't know. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook at the top of the screen. $1 trillion. 9 billion. That's where we are for the market cap for crypto. CoinPeprika, download that app. Bitcoin right now, 20,000 now, over 20,200 plus. Ethereum, 1,300, almost 1,400 bucks. Number 6 spot is XRP at 46 cents. Strong like bull. Yeah, 24.32% up on the 7-day. Let's go ahead and get into this because it's Jason Cousins, the CEO of GlimpPay. You guys know I work with him, but I love being a customer. Listen to what he says here. It's based on the tweet that's shared by Wolzend here, and it says, a cashless society is a surveillance society. They've been building it whilst you were sleeping. A prison without walls. The perfect dictatorship would have the appearance of democracy, but would basically be a prison without walls in which the prisoners would not even dream of escaping. It would essentially be a system of slavery where though consumption and entertainment, the slaves would love their servitudes. Jason says programmable central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are the biggest threat to civil liberty, and I agree with him. They will be embraced with open arms as government introduced them to solve our next crisis. And before we know it, we will live in the ultimate surveillance society. I really agree with him and think that both these gentlemen have it right here. You know, this is why I tell you, if you check out GlimpPay, the link underneath this video, once you start gathering your physically allocated gold and using your debit card to hedge the current moment we're in with inflation, I'm telling you, it's addictive. You won't stop. There's no question. Nexo being sued for operating crypto brokerage without license and lying about it. This is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States here. Nexo is being sued by 8 U.S. state securities regulators. That's where we're at here, including New York Attorney General Letitia James. And it says here, cryptocurrency group, 2 entities, Nexo and Nexo Capital, are being charged with failing to register with the state as securities and commodities broker or dealers and for lying to investors about their registration status. How about that? I tell you, you know, this is just more evidence of the fact that we need legislation in this space, right? U.S. Securities Exchange Commission announced Monday it filed and settled a $1 million fine against Friedman LLP, Tether's former auditing firm, over serious violations of federal securities laws. The former auditing firm from Tether just settled a big fine. So if you had any question about whether Tether was doing it right, the answer is no. The question is, who's doing it now? Black Swan event? Anyone? With so many elements in flux around the Senate's Digital Commodity Consumer Protection Act, the DCCPA, says Ron Hammond, and the Waters-McHenry stablecoin draft, Congress and crypto will be delayed. None of us wanted to hear that. There's a chance both bills could get a vote in committee this week or delayed. We'll update soon. We appreciate it, Ron. This is Lily Tesler from Sidley Austin LLP, and also representing the Digital Chamber of Commerce, filing the amicus brief. Shout out to Tony from Thinking Crypto, doing a great job. Let's listen to this quick clip about being asked from Tony, what do you think the outcome possibilities are here? Not asking for a prediction, but listen to this.
So the opposition motions we'll see filed on October 18th and replies are due November 15th. After that, I think the judge probably late this year, maybe early next year, will make a decision based on assuming the facts aren't in dispute on the legal issues at play. Based on that, we'll see what happens. I think most likely both one or the other party, depending on the decision, could appeal, and so we could see these issues playing out in the appeals court. Another alternative view is there could be, and as we're seeing more guidance from the SEC and them being public, that they may be putting out more guidance on disclosures, and also various legislative bills that are pending. It could be that this case and the issues may be moved depending on what comes out from the SEC in the near term. That also could change the trajectory of the case. So it's hard to predict, but it'll ultimately be either some type of precedent-setting issue in the case or guidance that may change and shift what's happening in the case.
Pretty remarkable right there because, obviously, her nor anyone else knows really what the outcome is or will be, and nor do we have all the information either at this time. However, I do want to say, one of the things I've discussed on this channel, I want to remind people, John Deaton has said you could see a split the baby where the SEC could claim a win and Ripple could claim a win. Ripple could go forward and be able to use XRP. You may even, and I'm building off of what Deaton has said, you could even see a situation where Ripple and XRP can go forward. U.S. customers and banks and financial institutions could begin using it, and the SEC could still appeal after winning a huge fine because they disagree with the decision, take it to a higher court. I offer this. I don't know what's going to happen, but I offer this. It would not surprise me to see some kind of split decision where they both can claim a win, Ripple and XRP can move forward, begin to bring the United States into this thing, and still see an appeal to a higher court, ultimately the Supreme Court, because if all the money is going to move and have the ability to move and settle across this new technology and network using XRP, which is a non-state backed money, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see this ultimately go a few years from now and settle at the end at a Supreme Court level for real true finality in this thing. That's maybe not, but it wouldn't surprise me. And it wouldn't really necessarily be the bad decision as long as what we get out of this court allows Ripple and XRP to move forward while appeals take place. That's the key for me. Because it would make sense that the government would want to appeal to the higher courts and give it some room to run through a decision, which I believe it's deserved the right to do with XRP. But then you would have a revisit of this new non-state backed money in a few years when it makes it to the Supreme Court's docket. And then you could see with that legal leash on it, is it being worked into the system in the manner that they wanted it and it was designed to be? And if not, the Supreme Court can make a decision to deal with whatever adverse effects could be at the time or not and bless the thing, and off to the races we go. Who knows how it goes, but that's just one train of thought I wanted to share. Brazilian digital bank Nubank has logged more than 1.8 million users for its crypto platform. The digital bank now counts 70 million customers in Latin America. How about that? And by the way, I just want to remind you that Warren Buffett is invested in Nubank, that digital bank, which is also a RippleNet partner. Come on in. Thought you might like that piece of information this morning. Yeah, there's some good out here, even though there's a lot of uncertainty, right? We just got to really balance it all out, understand that we're early, and my goodness, how nice will it be when we can have one of these videos and we not have to discuss the lack of clarity in this space? Boy, I tell you. September 27th, Ripple partner Bitso will roll out its new payment solution in Argentina. The product will enable users in Latin America country to access the first QR code payment system in the region powered by, you guessed it, XRP and other cryptocurrencies. I like it a lot. And Steve Forbes is shouting it from a mountaintop here. Going back to the gold standard will stop inflation. You know, making an announcement like that on an official level would send gold through the roof, wouldn't it? Imagine that. Gold's going back to dollars again, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think the price of gold would be just on the world agreeing to do that again? What do you think that would drive the price of gold to? Or would they just have to set it? In focusing on rising interest rates to cool inflation, central bank governments have overlooked the importance of maintaining stable currencies, said Steve Forbes. It says here, the real cure is to stabilize the currency. You don't have to make people poor to conquer inflation, he said. Well said on his part. The British pound briefly fell 4% to an all-time low to 1.0382 on Monday in Asia, following last week's announcement by the new UK government that it would implement tax cuts and investment incentives to boost growth. Now, look, I mean, the UK's in some trouble, and so is the rest of the world, but keep your eye on the Bank of England and the UK, right? Keep your eye on that particular part of the world. There's a lot of settlement that happens through the UK for the world, ladies and gentlemen. The European Central Bank, we covered this yesterday, but just think about the flow of information, how it's unfolding, the news here. ECB will use a wholesale version of digital Euro CBDC for security settlement. It also recently announced that it was working with external companies to prototype users' interfaces. Yeah, would like to see what that's going to be at the end. And look, here's your incentive around the world. Russia's got all kinds of sanctions on it, and Russia says, you know what, we're planning to use a digital ruble for mutual settlements with China by next year. So thumbing the nose at the sanctions. The Russian ruble is stronger than it ever has been. How's those sanctions working out? Not so good for the people that need the gas and oil they were getting from Russia over in Europe this coming winter. That didn't make much sense, did it? Cut your nose off, spite your face. This is a report right here. I want to show you this. Shout out to Lisa L. Yeah, that's an original OG in the space right here, and certainly for the channel. Shout out, Lisa, for this one. JP Morgan unlocking $120 billion value in cross-border payments. Oh, I think it's a lot more than that, isn't it, JP? You know, look, if we go down here just very quickly, I want to go to this and show you that obviously Ripple's on the map, ladies and gentlemen, right here. It talks about commercial efforts, central bank initiatives, project summary, target stage, challenges. You're going to like where this goes. Ripple cross-border payments infrastructure. It's got finality on there too. Swift as well, right? Showing here cross-border payments infrastructure intended to use cryptocurrency's XRP settlement instrument. Low cost, got it covered. Instant settlement, there you go. And transparency, there you have it. High volatility of XRP leading to limited willingness from banks in using it to facilitate payments. I've said this for a long period of time. Banks don't want to use XRP till it's a really high price. I don't want to sell something to you if I know it's going to be a high price later, especially if I'm a bank and I understand that, hey, I've got a lot of liquidity and utility that I could bring to your network, but I don't want to use it while your coin is 46 cents. I want to use it when it's really high price. Relatively high cost owing to spreads between fiat and XRP, and that's where you get into the 3 to 4 seconds for settlement, right? But okay, so look, this is the report goes on to discuss all kinds of different projects we know that are happening with the BIS, MCBDC, MBridge. We know MCBDC platform. This is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing all of this. Highly integrated international collaboration with global scale requires significant amount of coordination and negotiations. And on all low cost instant settlement and transparency, You're seeing it right here, right? Right there, you're seeing it. What's interesting to me about that is this right here. This is James Wallace, the head of central bank engagement for XRP and Ripple, ladies and gentlemen, right here, working with the private ledger for central banks to launch CBDCs. Listen very carefully what he says about how the XRP ledger and XRP is really seen by the BIS as the M bridge.
Have a digital dollar and you have a digital, real, or digital pound. You obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model.
The BIS called this the multi-CBDC model. He's explaining exactly what the XRP ledger does with the use of XRP as a bridge.
Border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier, where with our on-demand liquidity. But the core offering really is not XRP. There's no XRP involved. It's the native token is the CBDC.
And that makes a lot of sense, because if you think about the high interoperability factor and what you really need for all of this to work around the world, XRP is a complement, the way Chris Larsen has said years ago. It's a complement to the system to be a bridge. The real true native token should be the CBDCs and the stable coins of the world and the other assets of value. XRP is merely a bridge to facilitate that transaction where needed. That is extremely exciting to me. So when I see, and it's speculation on my part, but when I see mCBDC platform referenced by either JP Morgan or BIS, what I'm seeing in my mind is exactly how the XRP ledger works. Certainly XLM as well, right? How about this? Eggrag Crypto says XRP expecting 790% pump. This is in correlation not to the 2017-2018 bull run, but a correlation in November 2014 in a pump that took place. The current fractal is rhyming with it, and it is ranging in preparation for the second pump. He says the second pump, if it keeps on rhyming, and that's an important part, if it keeps on rhyming, then 790% jump is plausible and possible. If you take a look here, here's the reference of back in the day here where you saw that in the 2014 time frame, 793% pump. And if we were to see that now from where we're sitting, it could put us in the plus $2, $2.56 range. And I wouldn't have a problem with any of that. Ultimately, I feel like we need some fundamental news, clarity in the case, some kind of ruling that allows us to move forward, even if there's an appeal and a huge fine. Who cares? There's no criminal charges in this case. That's the important thing to really remember. There is no criminal fraud charges in this case whatsoever. So really this comes down to how they treat it, how they use it going forward. And I think that shows the importance of the asset as well as the case for the entire crypto space. Look, that's going to do it for me. That's where we are on this day. Hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. Check out all the links underneath the video, the great products and services I use each and every day with great specials and deals, but you got to click the links. I'm not a financial advisor, and neither is anybody else in here either. So I'll catch all of you on the next one.